Hi, I'm Kelly with Bluewater Photo, and today I want to take a quick look at the new Aquatica housing for the Sony A7R II. The housing also works with the A7S II and the A7 II, as all three camera bodies share the same size, dimensions, configuration of buttons, etc. So all three bodies will work with this guy. It's very excellent. Before we jump into the housing, just a quick update on all the cameras. If you're not familiar, there's three different bodies. The A7R II is the high-end version. It's the very high-resolution version. It's got 42 megapixels. It has a backlit sensor, so it does a little bit better in low light capability than the standard camera. Improved autofocus and image stabilization over the original A7R. The A7S II is the really high-end for video. It's only a 12 megapixel version, but because it's so low on the pixel count, the pixels are huge, which allows you to shoot in really low light without a lot of noise. So really excellent if you're doing low light shooting. Both the A7R and the A7S II allow for internal 4K recording, which is new from the original A7 series as well. The third model is the A7 II. It's your standard model. It has 24 megapixels, and it also has improved autofocus and image stabilization from the original A7. Let's take a look at the Aquatica housing now. As you can see, it's an aluminum housing, just like the other two options from CNC and Nauticam. This one is very well built, it's very rugged. It continues along Aquatica's line of housings that are built to withstand tough ocean conditions. They're manufactured in Canada. They've got this nice finish on them that's a little rough, and it helps protect the aluminum from wear and from any oxidation or corrosion, and help really last if you're shooting in rougher conditions or just shooting a lot. These housings are built to stand up to use, which is really great. The Aquatica housing gives you full control of the camera, just like the other housings. They do take one step further, and on the back of the housing, instead of just having your dials for the 4 buttons on the back, they actually have a control dial. So this is the only housing that you can actually turn that control dial that's on the back of the housing. So effectively you have access to all 3 dials on the camera: the control dial back here, the shutter speed, and the aperture. This is great for underwater because you can actually customize this control dial ring to a variety of any functions, including ISO. So if you're shooting video and want quick access to switching ISO, you can customize the control ring to do that, and then all you have to do is turn it to change your ISO just like you would your aperture or your shutter speed. Eliminate several button presses or going into the function menu. Taking a quick look, as we've got the back of the housing here, they have LCD screen, nice large viewfinder port, and it is accessible to use their external viewfinders as well. You've got controls for everything you want: AEL, AFL switch, your 4 control buttons, and this is your OK button. They've created a longer lever to make it really easy to access right from your fingers. The controls on the side, and the housing does come with handles. I've actually removed them just so it's easier to see all the controls, but just like any Aquatica housing, it comes with the nice molded grip handles. You've got your really good latches, so stainless steel. They aren't going to accidentally come undone. They aren't going to get stuck very easily. Shutter speed, aperture controls. You've got a nice shutter lever, so it's really easy to hit that. And they've extended the C1 button so that it's very easy to just, right there, you're good to go. I actually found with the handle, I made my C1 button my autofocus so that I could focus and shoot with macro to keep my focus split out, so I wasn't having to press and hold half shutter focus, which worked really well. You've also got your C2 button down here and your record button, which is really nice. Mode dial and exposure compensation on the top. Really good, easy to use zoom gear over here. You've got a plethora of bulkheads, which is really great for adding different accessories. And then you've got your strobe connectors. And the Aquatica housing has 3 options. You can get it for fiber optic cables. And as many of you may know, the Sony A7 II series cameras do not have an internal flash that is attached to the camera. So you have to put a flash trigger, which is typically an optional purchase from Nauticam and CNC. Aquatica is actually going to include the flash trigger for their fiber optic cable shooting with the cost of the housing at no extra charge, which is pretty awesome. Alternately, if you want to use sync cables, they've got both the Nikonos and a manual Icolite bulkhead option. So if you have Icolite strobes, you can still use your Icolite sync cords. You won't have to buy new cords, which is really great. You've got 2 ports, so you'll be able to configure 2 bulkheads or 1 bulkhead, whichever you like to do. It's usually very nice. You can customize the setup to fit your needs great. Let's take a quick look inside. To open the housing, simply push the little levers forward and unhook the latches. And then the housing comes right off. So you can see on the back of the housing, in order to get that control dial, they have a little black gear here that allows you to use that. All of your controls very nicely made. And on the back here, you've got a nice large O-ring, so it's easy to check your seal, make sure it's good. 2 guiding pins, make sure that the housing is closed correctly when you put it on. And then it's easy installation for the camera with their camera tray, which also has the 2 guiding little lines. Toss it right in there, slides in place, clicks in and locks, so you know you're good. This one currently has a bulkhead on it, so the hot shoe would slide into the camera and you're good to go with your flash. Closing the housing is just as easy as opening it. Simply make sure your O-ring is clean as you would. Make sure the surface that secures the O-ring is also clean. Set it down, make sure it sits over those 2 pins nicely. Close your latches. They're very secure. They were not going to come out on you. I found the housing was really easy to use underwater. They did design it with a wider port opening, so it uses the standard DSLR ports, which gives you a wide variety of ports to choose from, and you're never going to run into the problem of not being able to remove the camera to change your battery. All the lenses will fit through here without a problem, unlike some of the other housings that are made for the A7 II. If you have any questions on this housing, please feel free to give us a call. We're happy to help answer questions or help get you set up with one. You can also find more information on our website at www.bluewaterphotostore.com. Thanks so much for watching.